What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if the release month for Breath of the Wild 2 was accidentally, revealed by IGN's own Pierre Snyder. Now, this is a very high up. In fact, it's very hard to even go higher up on IGN than Pierre. And he was on the NVC podcast over on IGN, and they were talking about Nintendo, obviously, as that podcast would do. And so I want to read this Reddit post because they did a really good job, I think, of putting it into context. In the latest NVC podcast, Pierre Snyder, IGN's founder, okay, so again, it's impossible actually to go higher than him, talked about how he attended the Game Awards, and in the after parties got to learn Nintendo's 2022 plans. Pierre said Nintendo is planning for a huge 2022, and he personally is very excited about what he heard. He suggests in this segment that Breath of the Wild 2 is on track for release in 2022, but he didn't give too much context at this point. Okay, so that was kind of set it up, but that's not everything. Later in the episode, they talk about open world games, and he directly says that will probably change this November when we play Breath of the Wild 2. Link with timestamp. Wanted to share, as there's been lots of debate on the release plans, if it hits in 2022. While it's not official confirmation, I think this is decent evidence to show that Breath of the Wild 2 is indeed planned for November. Yeah, look, you can debate it all you want, and there's definitely room to debate, and I'm not saying, it's not allowed to, but I really feel like this is kind of concrete. The founder of IGN, he's a very powerful position, this guy, and I don't really see any other way of analyzing how you say it, he's in the know, even without the Game Awards parties, he's in the know, and then he goes to the Game Awards, he hears about it, and again, that first part is okay, well, it's going to release in 2022, but I'm not going to really say anything more, and then they're talking about open worlds, and he says, well, Breath of the Wild 2 for November, that's when it'll change, so well, how else could you possibly read that? Now, I will say this. I guess the only thing I can really add to the conversation is it coming out in November and him. So, the Game Awards was only a week or so ago, right? So, it's 11 months from now. That is far enough away where it could be pushed. I guess that's actually a very negative thing to say, but I would like to throw that in there just to do it. But yeah, when you're talking about a game that has a potential window for November or December, say next year, when you're going a year away, right? There's always room for it to be pushed a couple months. With that being said, though, November for Nintendo makes sense considering it's the holiday season. So it probably is the game for the holidays to sell the Switch, to push Nintendo just in general, and to help them with the holidays. It's probably, circled in red as in, do not move this date, or, do everything possible to get this game to release this day. That I kind of feel like that's what you would do for same thing. Microsoft, Starfield is most likely that game too, right? November 11th, right? 2022. It's that game is Microsoft's game for the holidays. Comes out 2 weeks before Black Friday. You're gonna circle it and say, okay, well, look, we're not Satan, we're not evil. If you need to move it, you can move it. But let's be realistic. We really want this game to come out here, and please, for the love of God, don't touch that. So I feel like that's what the situation is probably going to be for Breath of the Wild. So that's exciting. And again, as he talked about, 2022 is going to be a big year. We know Splatoon, we know Bayonetta. There's a lot that could potentially, and there's always talk of Mario stuff. I think it's time for a new Mario game of some kind. And so, I think it's going to be a very exciting, just like he said, very exciting year for Nintendo, and that is very exciting. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. Do a brand new video on the channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.